We've all seen the terror of the full-grown Demogorgon, but few realize the monster's life begins as a tiny, utterly harmless creature. The Demogorgon isn't just a monster. It's a parasitic threat that undergoes 4 horrifying rapid transformations. We meticulously explain every single stage of the Demogorgon life cycle. Stage 1. The Pollywog. The entire life cycle begins in its most benign, almost cute form, the Pollywog. This is the creature Will Byers coughs up at the end of Season 1, revealing the ongoing infection. These tiny organisms are visually similar to slugs or tadpoles, hence the name, and they are typically only a few inches long. They are completely dependent on a host and pose no immediate threat in this stage, often appearing harmless until consumed by an unsuspecting host. In the case of poor Dart, as Dustin affectionately named him, he emerged as a resident of Hawkins only to be quickly adopted and fed by Dustin, accelerating its growth. The only physical feature that hints at its true nature is the small, gaping mouth that houses the initial beginnings of its signature petals. Stage 2. The Slug. Once inside a host, the Pollywog quickly grows and graduates into a more recognizably dangerous form. It leaves the host, usually through the mouth if it's consumed, and develops primitive legs and a distinctly reptilian appearance, moving far faster than its previous slug-like stage. At this point, it exhibits heightened predatory instincts. Its skin becomes tougher, allowing it to survive outside of a host, and it begins to shed its skin frequently, an essential process for its rapid growth. This creature is still relatively small, no larger than a small dog, but it has developed enough speed and agility to be a serious threat. This stage demonstrates its incredible biological programming, constantly consuming and shedding in its desperate need for mass. Stage 3. The Demodog. The Demodog, as coined by Dustin, represents the adolescent stage and is visually the most unique in the cycle. This creature is roughly the size of a large wolf and moves on all fours, making it incredibly quick and agile. Critically, the Demodog cannot fully open its face, meaning its primary sense is not sight, but a form of echolocation or auditory sensing. This is a crucial vulnerability exploited by the kids in Season 2. Demodogs move and act as a collective, often operating under the direct psychic control of the Mind Flayer. They are seen traveling in packs, demonstrating a hive mentality and acting as the foot soldiers of the Upside Down's invading force, culminating in the siege on Hawkins' lab. Their rapid, coordinated, and aggressive behavior proves they are no longer just hunters, but a militarized threat. Stage 4. The Demogorgon. The final stage is the formidable, fully mature Demogorgon. This creature stands tall and humanoid, reaching over 7 feet in height, with a leathery, regenerative skin and an imposing stance. Its most defining feature is the 5-petaled face that opens to reveal rows of terrifyingly sharp teeth. The mature Demogorgon possesses the ability to breach dimensions, creating temporary portals or gates when necessary, making it an existential threat to the boundary between worlds. Unlike the Demodogs, the full Demogorgon often operates alone, acting as a solitary hunter or a powerful guard. It is the purest representation of the Upside Down's primal force, relentless, powerful, and utterly devoid of human intelligence or mercy. It is the creature that began the entire saga and remains the standard by which all other monsters are judged. Barbara Barb Holland Hay. Barb was Nancy's studious best friend, instantly recognizable by her large glasses and cautious demeanor, making her feel like an outsider in the popular high school crowd. Her death was the first true indicator that the threat in Hawkins was lethal and indiscriminately cruel. She was taken from Steve's pool by the Demogorgon and brutally killed, not because of her choices, but due to being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Her disappearance served as the emotional engine for Nancy's arc in Season 1, fueling her guilt and driving her to seek justice in Season 2. Dr. Martin Brenner's Agents. This group of unnamed agents, led by Connie Frazier, represented the cold, ruthless arm of the government conspiracy determined to recapture 11 and silence anyone who knew the truth about the lab. They were defined by their severe suits and complete lack of mercy, acting as human antagonists. Their role was to put immense pressure on 11 and the children, and they met their demise when 11, cornered at the school, used her psychokinetic powers in a devastating surge, collapsing their bodies and disintegrating their brains in an explosive show of force. Bob Newby. Bob, Joyce's kind-hearted boyfriend, was the ultimate dad bod and a lovable former schoolmate known for his technical genius acquired working at Radio Shack. His role was to introduce genuine happiness and normalcy back into the Byers family's tumultuous life. He died a hero's death at Hawkins' lab when he volunteered to override the security system, enabling the others to escape the Demodog swarm. Despite nearly making it out, he was mauled and killed in the hallway moments before reaching safety, providing a heartbreaking moment of sacrifice. Dr. Alexei, or Smirnov, as Hopper nicknamed him, was a quirky Russian scientist who became the unlikely friend and comic relief for Murray Bauman, known for his childlike love of American delights like cherry Slurpees and cartoons. He was crucial to the plot because he was the only one who could explain the technical workings of the Russian gate-opening machine under Starcourt Mall. His life was tragically cut short by the Russian hitman Grigory at the Hawkins Fun Fair after proudly winning a prize, underscoring the lethal seriousness of the Russian conspiracy. Grigory was the imposing, silent Soviet assassin and KGB enforcer tasked with ensuring the Starcourt operation remained a secret, defined by his immense physical strength and brutal efficiency. He served as the unstoppable, Terminator-like physical antagonist for Jim Hopper throughout Season 3. His role was to eliminate all witnesses and threats to the Russian key. He ultimately met his end in the Russian facility beneath Starcourt Mall during a brutal final confrontation with Hopper, being thrown into the machinery that powered the laser, which instantly disintegrated him. Billy Hargrove. Billy, Max's aggressive and troubled older stepbrother, spent much of the season possessed by the Mind Flayer, serving as the creature's unwilling lieutenant. His appearance was marked by his long hair, muscular build, and general menacing aura. He was ultimately redeemed when 11 reached a buried memory of his mother, sparking his humanity. In a final, selfless act, he sacrificed himself at the mall, standing against the colossal Mind Flayer to shield 11 and dying impaled by the creature's tentacles. Dr. Martin Brenner. Dr. Brenner, or Papa, was the controversial manipulative figure in a suit who returned to try and restore 11's powers at the Nina Project. His complex role was both a torturer and a father figure to 11. He met his supposed demise outside the project's bunker after helping 11 escape from the military led by Lieutenant Colonel Sullivan. He was shot multiple times and died in L's arms, though the ambiguity of his death remains a subject of debate due to his past survival. Eddie Munson. Eddie was the charismatic, theatrical metalhead and leader of the Hellfire Club, known for his long hair and denim jacket. His role was to be the persecuted outsider, falsely accused of the Vecna murders. He died a hero, having previously chosen to run from danger, but ultimately deciding to stand and fight the Demobats in the Upside Down to buy time for his friends. He was fatally wounded by the creatures and died in Dustin's arms, having finally earned his self-respect and proving he was no coward. 11. Jane Hopper. 11, or L, is the heart of this saga, presented initially as a confused, shaven-headed girl wearing a hospital gown. As the series progresses, her look softens, though she maintains a determined, often distressed expression. Her primary role is the protector and the nexus between the human world and the Upside Down. Her unique powers are psychokinesis, the ability to move objects with her mind, telepathy, the ability to read and project thoughts, and remote viewing, using a sensory deprivation tank to locate individuals across vast distances. She is the lab test subject with these extraordinary abilities, making her the only force capable of truly sealing the breaches created by her own power and the malice of the Dimension's creatures. Mike Wheeler. Mike is introduced as a lanky, brown-haired boy who serves as the de facto leader and emotional anchor of the core friend group. He is defined by his unwavering loyalty and deep sense of idealism, which is most evident in his immediate acceptance and profound connection with Eleven. His main role shifts from a D&D playing child to a crucial, strategic thinker and moral compass, willing to risk everything to save those he loves, particularly Elle and Will. Dustin Henderson. Dustin is instantly recognizable by his curly hair and signature baseball cap. His physical appearance is often the target of light-hearted mockery, but his character is crucial as the group's resident scientist and peacemaker. He is characterized by his infectious optimism, deep knowledge of science and radio communications, and an earnest curiosity that frequently leads to major plot discoveries, such as finding the Demodog or establishing communications via Cerebro. Lucas Sinclair. Lucas is the most grounded and initially skeptical member of the original group, often sporting a red bandana and an occasionally suspicious glare. He takes the role of the cautious realist, often clashing with Mike's idealistic decisions early on, yet always returning to fight alongside his friends. His main contribution lies in his pragmatism, his reliable slingshot skills, and his role as Max's steady boyfriend and protector. Will Byers' Will is the catalyst for the entire series, introduced as a quiet, artistic boy who vanishes in the first episode. Physically, he often appears thin and slightly melancholic, reflecting his continuous connection to the Upside Down. His role is defined by trauma. He is the conduit and the victim, constantly battling residual possession by the Mind Flayer and acting as the emotional barometer for the whole group, representing the innocence they all fight to protect. Max Mayfield. Max arrives in Hawkins as a tough, red-headed girl with a skateboard, quickly earning a place in the group due to her fearless attitude. She is often seen wearing bold, practical clothes, reflecting her independent nature. Her major role is that of emotional depth, having to navigate the abusive relationship with her stepbrother Billy, and, later, becoming the primary target of Vecna, leading to one of the most powerful emotional arcs in the series. Jim Hopper begins as a world-weary, heavy-drinking small-town police chief, usually seen in his uniform or a simple jacket, rugged and scruffy. His role evolves from a disillusioned detective investigating a missing child to a fierce, protective father figure to 11. His narrative is driven by sacrifice and redemption, constantly battling government conspiracies and monsters while trying to overcome the past loss of his biological daughter. Joyce Byers. Joyce is Will and Jonathan's fiercely devoted mother, characterized by her frantic but logical determination, often dressed practically in a lived-in fashion. Her main role is the quintessential maternal force. She is the first person to believe in the supernatural link to Will's disappearance, and her relentless pursuit of the truth, often using Christmas lights and abstract methods, drives the central mystery in the early seasons. Nancy Wheeler. Nancy starts as the high-achieving, popular high school girl, often wearing classic 80s preppy attire. Her role quickly transitions into that of a seasoned investigative journalist. She is defined by her bravery and sharp intellect, partnering first with Jonathan and later with Jonathan and Steve to expose the truth about the Hawkins lab and the terrors emanating from the Upside Down. Jonathan Byers. Jonathan is the quiet, artistic older brother of Will, frequently seen with a camera, symbolizing his role as an observer and outsider. He is characterized by his sensitivity and deep loyalty to his family. His role is primarily that of the protector and the emotional anchor for Will, often joining Nancy in dangerous investigations and providing a contrast to the high school dynamics of his peers. Steve Harrington. Steve begins as the handsome, arrogant high school jock with the famous feathered hair, usually seen in preppy clothing. His main role is one of the most drastic redemption arcs in the series. He transforms from a self-absorbed bully to the beloved babysitter, tirelessly protecting the younger kids. His combat readiness and selfless commitment to the group make him an indispensable frontline fighter against the forces of the Upside Down. Vecna, Henry Creel, 1. Vecna, initially known as Henry Creel or 1, is the ultimate villain, appearing as a monstrous, decayed humanoid with a massive, twisted left arm, covered in vines and severely scarred from his initial banishment. His primary role is the master manipulator and the mind flayer's general, hunting victims by exploiting their deepest traumas. He is the original source of the Upside Down's power on Earth, and thus the final obstacle. Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer is not human, but a shadowy, colossal entity from the Upside Down, resembling a giant, spidery silhouette, seen initially only through the rift. Its role is the primary intelligence behind the dimension, seeking to invade and conquer the human world. It operates by possessing hosts, like Will Byers, and creating physical avatars, such as the monstrous Flayed in later seasons. Demogorgon. The Demogorgon is the first physical monster introduced, appearing as a tall, humanoid creature with leathery skin and a terrifying flower-like head that opens to reveal rows of razor-sharp teeth. Its primary role is that of a predatory animal, a scout and hunter for the Upside Down, opening small gates and capturing prey. It represents the immediate primal danger that introduced the children to the supernatural conflict. Dr. Martin Brenner, Dr. Brenner, often called Papa, is a cold, authoritative figure, usually dressed in clinical attire or a simple suit, representing the calculating face of scientific experimentation. His role is the unethical lead scientist at Hawkins' lab and the manipulative adoptive father figure to 11 and the other child subjects. He is the human architect of the crisis, responsible for creating the powers that ultimately open the gate. That covers the 15 forces driving the Stranger Things saga. Every character, monster, and power has been explained, but this is just the beginning. Now, the screen task shifts focus. Next week, we begin our comprehensive journey, going episode by episode, season by season, to dissect every detail you might have missed. Before we start, I want to know, which character's story do you find the most heartbreaking? And which villain, Demogorgon, Mind Flayer, or Vecna, is the ultimate threat? Tell me in the comments. If you want the definitive, complete explanation of this series, make sure you subscribe to Screen Task right now. We'll see you next time for the very first episode breakdown. Cheers.